Today we're going to be doing an installation into a 2011 Ford F-150. We're going to be installing the Brand Motion rear vision system into the vehicle. Some of the things you're going to look for when you do this installation is making sure you got the right kit. The kit is available in two forms. One is the standard gate, which is an all-black handle piece. And then there's the up-level version, which the handle has chrome overlay on it, which is a factory chrome piece. You will also need the body harness, the mirror harness, and of course the mirror. We strongly recommend that you make sure you have all the correct pieces prior to doing any installation of the vehicle. One other feature about these trucks that you have to be aware of is 2004 to 2008 will have a compass which is clipped onto the bottom of the base of the actual mirror. It's a small black housing with its own separate connector. And in 2009 and up, that actual sensor is now built into the mirror. It does not display on the mirror. It displays on the center of the dashboard, right in the display area. One easy way for you to tell is if you disconnect the actual mirror, you will see two dashes on the left-hand side. If that is the case, you will need to do a modification to the installation in order to make the compass work for you. The first step in the actual installation is going to be to remove the existing mirror. 2004 vehicles and up will require a special tool which you can order from Brand Motion separately, which will allow you to release this mirror. There's a couple of things you want to be aware of when doing this. For one, you do not want to try to move the mirror from side to side, as that will crack the actual windshield. You also, as much as you would like to press a pin from the bottom of the base, it actually releases from the top, which is different than what you would expect on a normal vehicle. What you do is you would take your tool, insert it onto the top of the mirror, and what you're going to do is you're actually going to pry the tool between the button, which is built into the windshield, and the actual mirror, and the mirror will give and remove like that. There is a bend that I've done to this tool. When you order it, the tool will actually be straight. You will make this bend as if the vehicle has this overhead console. It will not give you the leverage you need to actually get in there and release the mirror. The bend, which I've done on a vise, makes it a lot easier for you to use. Now that we've got the mirror removed, we're going to need to gain access to the overhead console area. And we're going to need to also route the cable, which is now going to power the new mirror. To do so, we're going to remove the overhead console by snapping it off. We're also going to take off the sun visor, which has a screw on this side and two on this side. Then we will remove the cover on the A-pillar and we'll be ready to route our cable. Now that we have taken all of our compartments off and we've got easy access to the headliner, we are going to go ahead and route our cable, and we're going to bring it up the A-pillar, across, and to the mirror cavity area. Notice how by removing the sun visors, you've got a lot of give on the headliner. If you avoid doing this, you may end up with crease in the headliner, which will damage the installation. So I've routed our cable from the A-pillar area up and over onto the opening cavity where the overhead bin is. Keep in mind that with new vehicles, most are equipped with side curtain airbags, and you want to make sure you stay away from any of that when you're routing your cable. Also, in this particular truck, there's a auto-dimming compass mirror built in, and so we're going to have to make some vehicle-specific connections here, which are covered in the instructions, and will help you get power to the mirror as well as allow the compass to function again. On 2009 and up trucks with a built-in compass sensor on the mirror with the display on the dashboard, you're going to need to separate the mirror, factory mirror, and take the actual compass board off the mirror. Doing so is going to render the mirror useless, and we are going to relocate that board in the vehicle to allow the compass to continue to function. You are going to need a knife and a pick to separate the front half of the mirror from the back half of the mirror to do this. So you will insert the tool like so and work it in there until you give yourself some room to use a pick to completely separate the two halves. Now that we have disassembled our existing original mirror, we've got the board separated from the mirror itself, the front and rear piece of the housing, which we no longer need. We are going to take the provided foam, which is self-adhesive, and we're going to lay the board on the front side and also on the back side to protect all the circuits that are on the board. Since we are doing a truck with the compass built into the original mirror, we are going to need the connector that came with that original mirror. To do this, we're going to need to cut the harness from the connector. Make sure that you leave yourself enough slack so that you can make your connections at the harness as well as at the connector. Make sure to always have the key off when you do this, and do not cut all the wires at the same time. Separate each wire and cut individually until you have cut all 7 wires. Now that we've separated the harness from the vehicle, we're going to ensure that we make the connection the proper way, which is the top side tab here needs to go on the top side of the actual mirror board. On the top of the mirror board, you will actually see the label top side to make sure that you are going in the correct way, and insert your connector like so to make sure you've got it right. With our board and our connector assembled, we're going to go ahead and remove the backside of the tape from the provided foam pad, and we're going to lay our board in the center of that pad, and we'll create a sandwich with the second piece of foam, which will keep any of the electronics from being accidentally touched while installed in the vehicle. You are going to need to make a small opening to allow the cables to run through the foam once you're done. Okay, now that we've got our foam pads on both sides of the board, this is what the finished product should look like. The connector side is actually the front, and so when you install it in the vehicle, this will be the portion that will be facing the front of the truck, and that's the back side. And we'll go through that once we do the installation in the vehicle. Now that we're ready to make our connections of the brand motion harness and the factory overhead mirror harness, we recommend that you either use T-taps, butt connectors, crimp caps, or solder, making sure that the connections are fully insulated and that there will not be a chance of them coming loose once the installation is complete. So we've made all our connections at the overhead console. We reassembled the console. We've securely mounted our mirror. We installed our sun visor, mounted our A-pillar cover, and routed our cable down to the bottom of the vehicle. We've also attached the connector, which we removed from the rearview mirror up above, to the harness so that our compass will work, which I am now going to mount underneath the dash. We've removed the plastic cover as well as the metal plate that's behind here by taking off 3 7mm screws and 4 10mm bolts from the plate. Once we've done that, we've routed our compass sensor connector here, and we are now going to mount the actual mirror board in this position here. Make sure that the connector is on the bottom side of the board and that it is facing the front of the truck. So the connector will look like so once it is done. This way. Now take a couple of long cable straps, mount it there, and you can reassemble the vehicle. We've reassembled the knee bolster. We've now also removed the scuff plate down at the bottom and the front left kick panel. We've gained access to the floor of the truck, and now we've set our template so that we can drill our body harness. Now the harness is going to come from the back of the truck to the front, and to do this you first want to insert the harness up through the cab into the vehicle. For the template, you're going to align the hole on our template sheet with a taped hole that's already in the vehicle in this area, and you are going to mark where the X is on our sheet. You're going to drill a pilot hole followed by a 1-inch hole, which is going to be sufficient for the grommet that is going to pass and make that seal. We've drilled our 1-inch hole on the floorboard. We've pulled our cable through. We pulled the grommet completely through. Now we're going to use a corrosion preventer, which is supplied in the kit, around the hole that we made to prevent any rust from forming around our cavity. Then we are going to route our cable up the dashboard and connect it to our mirror harness, which is here from the mirror. Assemble the floorboard, and we're ready to do the rest of our harness installation. Now that we've fully assembled the floor on the pickup truck, we're ready to route our cable from the cab area underneath the truck all the way to the back bed section. When you do this, make sure that you avoid any moving parts such as any suspension components or brake components. You're going to bring your cable all the way around back, and we've also removed our tailgate in preparation for routing our cable. If your truck is a 2004 to 2008, you're going to measure 21 inches from the wall to this section and drill a 1 3/16 opening. If your truck is 2009 or newer, you're going to use the existing cavity, which is already in the truck. Anytime you do any drilling, keep in mind that you must use the corrosion preventer and that you check behind the sheet metal to make sure that you do not get in the way of any harnesses that are already existing in the vehicle. We've removed the original tailgate handle, and we've got our camera equipped handle both ready. What we're going to need to do is we're going to rotate both on their back side, and we are going to remove the key tumbler from the original handle and transfer it over to the new handle. To do this, you simply release the clip, eject the unit, and insert the clip into the new unit. Okay, now we've reinstalled our tailgate, and we're ready to install our handle with the built-in camera. To do so, we must remove the cover plate, which is on the back of the handle, removing all the screws. Then we'll gain access to the actual handle and remove that from the vehicle. We've gained access to the back side of the tailgate handle. Using a 10mm deep socket, you will remove the tailgate handle. It'll come out the bottom side. You will switch the key tumbler, assemble it into the new camera handle, and reassemble with a 10mm deep socket. We've routed our camera cable through our tailgate and out into the cavity which we have on the bed. When you do this, keep in mind that there is a secondary wall here. You can see it through this opening, and you're going to have to feed the cable through that wall and out the opening that's already there on the second tailgate. This may take a little bit of time, but it is very doable. Once you've got it out here, you will feed it into the bed area, connect it into your harness, and you'll be all set. We've got our camera all connected, and now we're going to give it a try and make sure that everything's working. Alrighty, in the vehicle, you're going to turn your ignition key on. Make sure that your compass is correct by showing you an actual guidance. It may be inaccurate. You may have to drive the vehicle to actually recalibrate the compass, but as long as you do not have two dashes, you're good to go. Place your foot on the brake, shift the vehicle into reverse, and you should get a reverse image.